This is Rob Tubbett for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted, as always, to be joined here today by Siesta from Siesta Boxing. We're here in London. How are you, Al?
I'm very well, Rob. Thank you very much. Nice to see you again. I'm delighted also.
It's good to hear. Thanks very much for popping down to the office today. Always a pleasure to see you. Let's start with your recent win for, Lufa Clay, your star in the making, Lufa Clay's win over against Dario Morello on the Matchroom Italia show. Talk to me about that performance.
It was a good performance, considering the circumstances and the camp and last-minute kind of situation. He's done fantastically well. I'm very proud of him, and I like that he showcased his talent finally, and everyone's seeing what he's capable of, that 45%. And there's more to come, and we're looking forward to make some better fights and be involved in the bigger cards. Hopefully with Matchroom again, or in Italy, or in UK. Let's see.
Now, I spoke to Lufa downstairs. Lufa's obviously here. We'll be doing an interview with him shortly. I said to him, congratulations, well done, great performance. He kind of looked at me and went, still, the things that I need to work on. From your point of view, you're a matchmaker, manager, this, that, and the other. What did you see in Lufa that potentially he has to work on before he starts moving up the levels?
I think on self-belief, because in the gym he is phenomenal, and whoever sparred him or whoever worked with him knows how talented he is. But some safety issues in terms of defense and admiration of his own work. He's not getting out of the fire line sometimes, which I've noticed in the fight against Morello, although everyone has been complimenting him on his defense. There are some things need to be done, otherwise he is very talented, and there's more to come from him. I want to be quietly confident about Lufa Clay. A couple of years and he'll be proper excelled, I think.
I know that you've had issues in the past with matching Lufa. How easy or how difficult even does it make it, him having that type of performance in Italy? How is it easy or difficult to make your job moving forward, getting the right fights for him?
I don't think we had significant problem in matching Lufa because few people fancied Lufa in the past, and there's a guy called Karenchuk from Ukraine who is WBC youth champion. They begged me for Lufa Clay many times and offered some good money as well. It's just I know the fights where Lufa is ready or not. So Morello was one of those fights that we took a gamble and it's paid off. And it's now I think we can call some shots, and we would be the parties that could bring other fighters that we want to fight Lufa Clay in order for him to progress in his career. It doesn't mean that we will not take 50-50s, and someone like Conor Benn or some other decent UK fights we would consider, definitely.
You mentioned Conor Benn. That's a name that's kind of floated around Lufa for a while. I spoke to Eddie about it yesterday at the Billy Joe Saunders workout. He said that that's a fight that has been discussed. Do you think Lufa's ready for that fight in the near future?
In the near future, definitely. I'm not sure if he's ready now because Conor is fighting on 26th of October, and I heard that their opponent is game. So let's see how he's going to do in that fight. But I like late Conor Benn. I really like. I can see some significant changes, and he's a proper fighter now. So Lufa needs to do lots of work in order to be on the par with him, which I do believe he will be able to. I think next year, end of the year, it's a fantastic fight.
Between now and then, how active are you looking to have Lufa be? I know he's boxed on your own shows, Siesta Boxing shows. There's been times in the past where he's boxed on the series, on the World Boxing Super Series and various other countries around Europe. How busy are you looking to keep him between now and a potential fight at the end of next year?
3-4 fights. The usual situation, maybe every 2.5 months will be fantastic. We are planning to have one more fight this year, and then break maybe February or March. We're going to have another fight. So, and then every 2 months. Hopefully Lufa will have 4 fights, maybe 3 fights at least before he's going to step in the ring with someone like Ben at the end of 2020.
What about yourself? What you got going on? You've always got some interesting stories to tell me. What have you got in the near future for our Siesta?
Man, loads of stuff going on. I'm chasing television as usual. And this is my ultimate aim. I need to land that broadcaster, and I will land that broadcaster eventually, whether it's in UK or anywhere. I just landed something in Russia, actually, but there's a Grand Prix, as you know, in Sochi this week, and I heard the overspending, which is going to climbing into my budget apparently because I'm with the same channel. So let's see what's going to happen. But I have some shows for October, December. I've got every other month 6 shows secured with Match TV. So let's see if it's going to materialize. And it's still in negotiation, but paperwork is pretty much sealed already. So let's see. I'm constantly working, I want to progress. I'm a restless soul.
You certainly are that. It's the first time I've spoken to you, or first time I've seen you since Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde. We're going to talk about Canelo versus Kovalev, but before we do that, talk about Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde. I know that you were over there in Chelyabinsk. What did you make of the fight?
I love the fight, and I always said that it will be a close fight, but eventually Kovalev will prevail. Do you remember we had that conversation? I mean, people get excited. I've been living in the UK for 20 plus years, and I know how a nation gets behind every UK sportsman, and it's a beautiful quality to have. I love UK fans, but Yarde is just not the same level as Kovalev. Doesn't matter, aging Kovalev, old Kovalev, drunk Kovalev, is still Sergey Kovalev. So, and as a consequence, we saw the foregone conclusion in the ring. But I really loved the performance that Yarde put on. And I still fancy Kovalev in the fight against Canelo, and everyone is laughing. But let me see when the super welterweight will taste that light heavyweight impact, how he's going to react. I know he's got chin, Canelo, and Golovkin couldn't do anything, but I think it's much harder fight than people expect.
It's interesting that you would say that. I know that you're not the type of person to back your countrymen, regardless. I know that's certainly not you. Is it
anything, it's adverse effect for me. I never back Russians.
Is it just the size of Kovalev that you see being the main difference when he faces Canelo?
It depends. Like with Andre Ward, he was overconfident first fight and he put him down and they couldn't finish him off. And depends which Kovalev turns up. But if he feels or he lands something and will stumble Canelo, that's a really hard night for Canelo. People saying body shots. It's just a really primitive concept to put on the table about the body shots and everything. Sergey Kovalev is a #1 light heavyweight at the moment. I know Beterbiev and Gvozdyk, and by the way, it's all Soviet Union. But I fancy Kovalev at least 50-50 in this fight. And it potentially could be a detrimental mistake by Canelo's camp. If I'm wrong because Canelo is an outstanding talent. But I can feel that Kovalev will bring something extra. And he just fought against Yarde, so he'll be in the fighting mode. Do you know what I'm saying? We did Canelo fight last time. Daniel Jacobs, yeah? So, which is it's fairly recently, correct? And he's in a great shape. And I think Canelo could have that 180 pounds in the ring, I know. But it's a great fight. I can't wait. I think it's the biggest fight that Russian fighter has been involved in. It's even bigger than Anthony Joshua against Alexander Povetkin, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's a super fight. I think the term gets thrown around a lot in boxing, but I think that in Canelo and Kovalev, you've got two of the biggest names in boxing for the last 10 years. Canelo jumping up to 175 pounds when not too long ago he was boxing at 155. I know he was boxing at 154, but he was doing the 155 thing for a little bit. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting fight. Do you think if Canelo wins that fight, he's pound for pound #1?
He is pound for pound #1 at the moment, I think. And people say Demetrius Andrade could cause him some trouble. I can't really see any middleweights, including Billy Joe Saunders, causing any trouble. But Kovalev potentially can do it. And I tell you, another guy could potentially give him a really, really tough test is Callum Smith. By the way, Callum Smith is officially my favorite UK fighter at the moment. It was Jordan Gill, but Jordan will come back because I just love the style. And Callum Smith, I'm just analyzing him. Everything is perfect about that guy. He's like, I call him Mikey Garcia of 168. Very well tucked in, great punching skills, great defense, lone levers, but great close game. Fantastic, all-around complete fighter. Very humble. God loves him, and I know he will do something big. Canelo against him, it's an amazing fight. I think it's a fantastic fight.
Interesting you had mentioned Callum Smith. Callum Smith's been all over social media recently, not apparently too happy with his situation currently with Eddie Hearn. What do you make of that?
He's a hard fighter to match. People keep bringing his personality in. Let me tell you that he's an outstanding fighter. He's not like, say, Billy Joe Saunders, for example. Not a knockout artist, correct? Great personality. I mean, OTT personality. Interesting outside the ring. But his style, he's skillful, but unless you're a connoisseur, you will not recognize that. You know? He probably very good against someone like David Lemieux, because David Lemieux is just like a robotic, stale kind of charging guy. Do you know what I mean? With Callum Smith, he has a great knockout ratio. The way he dealt with George Groves is spectacular. He fought Jacam Dunn, correct? The last fight. Fantastic performance. I think he deserves much more credit for his ability. And just because he's a humble man doesn't mean he's not a popular athlete. Bredis, I had nightmare with Bredis in the past. He never used to speak. He used to be like shy, really shy, like camera shy. He used to hide away. It never made him any less of a fighter than he is. In the ring, he's an animal. And Callum Smith has a fantastic personality and set of skills in the ring. And that's why I think... But Eddie done a fantastic job with him. He's been from the debut, correct? So Matchroom done an exceptional work. So they just need to match him against someone big. And it will still sell a stadium. If Callum Smith would fight Golovkin, I guarantee you that will sell Wembley. I don't know Wembley, but it will sell a stadium. That's a massive fight. Massive fight. No one fancies fighting Callum Smith, that's all. I think. You know, including Canelo. Because they know what's coming.
Callum Smith versus Billy Joe Saunders. Who do you like in that fight?
I like Callum Smith in that fight. I think he'll take the heart out of Billy Joe Saunders. Because, I mean, as much as the technicality of Billy, Callum Smith will catch up on him. He just corner him in, and that's what's going to happen. That's my opinion. But if Billy will show an incredible... Basically, if Billy will overturn my words, I will recognize Billy, because I've got mixed feelings about Billy. Sometimes I think after the Andy Lee performance, I thought, oh my God, this guy's genius. Then you would see Arthur Akarov performance and you think, what's that all about? You know? So I need confirmation. I need confirmation from Billy Saunders. Not like he cares, but I'm just saying personally, in my heart and my soul, I need to put Billy Joe Saunders on a certain place to understand who he is, you know? And I haven't seen it yet.
He's boxing on the Ksi-Logan Paul 2 undercard. What are your thoughts on that? You're somebody who, I think it's fair to say, very open-minded, as you have to be in boxing. What do you make of Ksi-Logan Paul kind of crossing over into... I know they've had the first fight, but that was very much white collar. This is professional boxing. No head guards, 10-ounce gloves. What are your thoughts on it?
I've got two 10-year-old kids. I've got twin boys. I tried to get them into boxing. They weren't interested. Now they're all over it because of this fight. One of them saying, Dad, it's a shit fight though, is it? I'm saying, why? Because they can't fight, they're no boxers. I'm saying, yeah, it's a good fight, because I'm just trying to back it up, because they're interested, I need to encourage that. Great idea, genius idea. If they can be licensed to fight, I like Logan Paul as well. I never knew about these guys. I never studied them, I never knew about their existence. I just checked him over. He's quite nice, he's quite gutsy guy. I fancy Logan Paul. Because I checked KSI and I checked the American kid. I fancy an American kid because he's got some bollocks to bring. And he can talk as well. I think it's I think Eddie done a really right move. And there's more to come. And I can see some other big YouTubers coming in. And all new spectrum of business. This is boxing business. We're not in Olympic boxing. We're in business. As business, it's a fantastic move. And if I would have had an opportunity as a promoter to do something like this, I definitely would have taken it as well. So I'm behind every single decision that Matchroom made and Eddie made to support this Logan Paul. It just makes sense. Brings massive audience. And whoever is saying otherwise are jealous.
What about fans? Because some fans are quite turned off by the idea of that headline in a show where you've got world champions underneath, you've got Billy Joe Saunders on the undercard, Devin Haney's going to be on the undercard. What do you make of their thoughts and feelings on the whole situation?
Whilst fans see that fight, when Logan Paul knocking KSI out, the feelings will change. Because the guys will be training really hard, they look apart. Who's mentioned in the interview? Did Eddie mention in the interview something about Hungarian journeyman?
Yeah.
I've been bringing those people for many years, and I fully agree. I know the shape they're coming in. So KSI against Logan Paul will be an intermediate southern area level. I reckon that's what it will be. Why wouldn't be watching a fight like that, especially when they generate millions and millions in revenue? I think it's a great idea. In terms of hardcore fans, human has a tendency to change his opinion. So today they say it's bollocks, nasty stuff, and you're disrespectful. Tomorrow they're going to say it's the best thing ever happened to boxing. So let's wait till next day after that event, which is, what is it, 9th of November? 10th of November. I'll call you.
From one rematch to another, Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. We spoke before the first fight. I think it's fair to say that neither of us were picking Andy Ruiz, although I think he was probably undersold in some areas. What do you make of the rematch? The first fight was so emphatic in Andy Ruiz's favour. Do you think Anthony Joshua can make the right adjustments into the rematch?
I just want to say something. I was offering my new chart to Eddie, and it was a good business deal for me as well. I could have earned lots of money, so I just said, Eddie, you need to take this Baba. He said, I don't like that fight. It's a shit fight. I need American, and I need a real test. And I know why the decision was made. And at the time, I felt that it's a fairly safe decision, because I never checked Ruiz. I never knew how quick he is. Joshua wasn't himself. Whatever happened there in the dressing room, people keep speculating. I know for myself, he was not the Anthony Joshua that we would normally see. In terms of rematch, I don't know. I think it will be boring jab, move, Joshua win against Parker type of fight. Or Ruiz, I don't care, you're getting knocked out again, round 5 stoppage, which is pretty much prediction that every boxing person would give. What do I personally want in this fight? I'd like AJ to return his belt. First of all, because Matchroom is one of the biggest contractors I'm working with, and I need their well-being to be preserved. So we need Joshua back, correct? For the sake of British boxing. And also just for AJ, he's such a nice guy. I want him to be longer in boxing. Great role model. Nice man. Nice, genuinely nice person, I think. I don't know, maybe it's a media perception, but what I can see, he's a nice, genuine individual. We need more people like that in boxing. Great role model, you know. So I want him to win. Ruiz is a hands full, but I'm hoping that that Mexican street taken for granted thing, because he got rich now, won't creep in, and he won't take it seriously. What happened with Kovalev, with Ward, for example.
What do you make of the decision to take it to Saudi Arabia, to Diriyah, Riyadh? I know you've been out there for the World Boxing Super Series in Jeddah in the past. What do you make of the decision to take the rematch over there?
We just discussed it's a business, correct? Mm-hmm. As a business, it makes phenomenal financial sense. Unless it's secured 100%, I know Eddie never would have done it. So obviously he's got the money. And it's a great decision, and also fulfills the commitment that Ruiz doesn't have to travel to United Kingdom. Proper neutral territory, correct? Mm-hmm. And again, bringing boxing to new territories, new cultures, new fans, fantastic business deal. Why not? So again, I'm not being like, it's not like a cliche, whatever, but I think Matchroom makes really good business decisions, pretty much. You agree with me, correct? They really fuck things up. So I think that's another really, really clever decision, really well made, and I think it will work for everyone. The only one reservation is a time zone, but if it would have been in America, it would have been 4 o'clock in the morning for us. So even here is a kind of middle ground, you know. Mm-hmm. Great decision, I think, great decision. I'm not sure if I will be there. It depends if I will have any work with Matchroom. As a fan, traveling, watching that fight, I don't know. We'll see.
Final one. I was out in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, as you know. Saw Tyson Fury. I think boxing, you know this and you understand this, goes from one extreme to the other. On the way into the fight, everybody was talking about Tyson Fury, the best heavyweight in the world. He's going to fight Deontay Wilder. He comes out of the fight and he's been cut. It's been certainly a rougher night than expected. and all of a sudden there's criticism, there's this and there's that. What did you make of the performance and kind of the fallout and the criticism from the Fury fight?
On the human level, my observation, Tyson Fury is very similar to Billy Joe Saunders. There's something unsettling, karmically, coming from what karma, messy. I don't know what that is. When I'm watching them, I'm just thinking something could happen to this guy. I always watch him. You know why? Very charming, great fighter, but there's some erraticness which not liked from upstairs, if you know what I mean. So the reason I'm saying that, I'm a bit myself like that. That is the problem. So I can relate to them. 1 minute he is all certain, and another minute he's just all over the place. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That cut, it was like a small ring from above. I think it nothing to do with camp, because the chemistry with Ben Davison is fantastic. I think Tyson needs to look into the landscape he's in at the moment, in terms of decision making and everything, and the inner stuff, because Otto Wallin, or Wallin, whatever they call him, on paper, wasn't anything special. But I know people who sparred him, and he's a hands-full guy. That's a bad matchmaking. That's not very safe fight. And I think Tyson, as much as a connoisseur he is, and he knows all the box record by heart, I know, because Tyson really follows boxing, I think they slipped that one, if you want to call it a safe fight. Because potentially, that was a stoppage. It was a stoppage. And if it would have been by the British Boxing Board of Control in the UK, although I don't know, maybe, but any other territory, it would have been a stoppage. And it would have been TKO, bye-bye Wilder fight. Maybe not bye-bye, but do you understand what I'm saying? Very dangerous, very reckless move. I hope they learn from that. And Tyson, he needs to stay calm. You know, in holy books it says when you're drinking something really tasty and it's fantastic, you can't do this. It's bad. So when you get success and things are coming to you, just stay calm. Just stay calm, Don't celebrate. That's what it says, I think. So that's what I think about that fight, about Tyson Fury. It was very dangerous. He threw a very dangerous game, and he was lucky. Nothing to do with Ben Davison or camp or anything, nothing to do at all. It was something else. People need to look at something else. It was a sign that things need to be tweaked a little bit on a moral level and spiritual level, I think.
Do you think he'll fight Wilder next? There's a lot of talk about that February rematch. It seems to be somebody will say, yes, it's definitely signed, and then somebody else will come out and say, well, maybe not. Do you think that fight will happen?
Has to happen. There's no reason why this fight shouldn't be happening. And depends. I think his eyelid or whatever, eyebrow or whatever it is, will heal very well as well. I'm sure there's best doctors on it. And he will fight Wilder. But I'm scared for that fight. I think Wilder going to come, and Wilder knows what to do now. And Tyson, it will be harder for Tyson to stay alive this time than it was in the first fight, because Wilder genuinely didn't know how skillful Tyson was. Now he knows how fidgety. I just watched Povetkin and Tyson's brother, how fidgety was Hughie for 3 rounds, like a hologram. So I think Wilder will be preparing himself in order to go through the punches and try to track him down and put him out cold. So Tyson has to work on it, not to mention the cut, which will be playing on his mind. But I love Tyson Fury. My father is a massive fan. My father's saying that Tyson Fury is one-off for next 100 years. That's what he reckons. He's a massive boxing fan. This is one of the only common grounds we've got. I'm only kidding. Yeah. So I love my parents. But anyway, that's what it is. I think big, tough job for Fury, but he has to take Wilder fight, because you can fight Wallins like that, but people will lose interest. The Wilder's fight needs to come, maybe not next, but one after next, 100% needs to be sealed. Or someone really big like Ruiz or Joshua or Alexander Usyk.
Okay. I think that's probably about it, unless there's anything else that you think we may have forgotten.
Well, we've got lots to talk about, but we're just kind of trying to stay current, and I'm really grateful for you to interviewing me because I don't really bring anything to the table yet, but I'm coming. Thank you, Rob.
Don't sell yourself short, Al. We love having you on the channel, as do our viewers. Thanks very much for popping up. I'm now going to have a word with the new WBO Global... What is a global title, Al?
Global WBO title run by a very good man called Danny Lee from Australia, really dedicated. It's a new title by the WBO, and I know the history, how this title got created, but for personal reasons, not mine, but the parties involved, I cannot say that. But it's a very interesting alternative to keep everyone happy. But the title is good. Title is good. And I think if Marina Shepard watching me, could you kindly put that title on BoxRec properly, not on Wiki? Because I want a proper title be attached to my fighter's name, like Luther Clay. And I know you're a beautiful, very, very soulful woman, and you do it for me. Thank you.
Okay, well, Al Siesta, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Going to grab a word with Luther Clay now. Catch up with you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.